This is the presentation for the 22nd Sunday of Ordinary Time, Year A. And the doctrine points for catechist reference are important in order to be able to unpack it a little bit for the children as needed. Peter wanted Jesus to avoid suffering, but Jesus knew he had to obey the Father in order to save us. Jesus spoke strongly because Peter's words amounted to a temptation. Understanding the words of today's gospel is important. With these words, "Get behind me, Satan," Jesus was not saying Peter was literally Satan. He was saying that Peter was thinking in a way that matched Satan's temptation, trying to stop Jesus from following his Father's will. The materials you need are the apostles from the Cenacle characters and Jesus from the gospel characters kit, and a country setting again. You may want to refer to the magnet maps. This is how the presentation would go. Sunday's gospel reading told us of a time when Peter and Jesus were speaking together. And this is a part of what we heard last week. Jesus said to Peter, "I say to you, you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it." And this week, we hear how things continued, and it is not what we expect. Let's listen and then talk about this. The reading is from Matthew, and it continues from last week's reading. From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. Saying, "God forbid, Lord, this shall never happen to you." But Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not on the side of God, but of men." You may need to clarify a bit. Explain to the children. This can be difficult to understand unless I explain a little more today. Peter loved Jesus, but he was giving Jesus bad advice. Jesus spoke to Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan," because Jesus knew it was like a temptation from Satan to take an easy path. Satan being the evil one or the devil. Today even, we use these words. Imagine someone who needs to take care of their diet, for example, because they've got diabetes, and their friend offers them a delicious piece of cake full of sugar. And then the person with the diabetes might well say these very same words, "Get behind me, Satan," to the friend who offered the cake. But they're addressing the temptation, not the person. We kind of used the phrase many times since Jesus introduced us to them. So understanding that, let's think about what this passage is actually meaning. And let's have our wonder questions around it. I wonder why Peter said, "God forbid, Lord, this shall never happen to you." I wonder why Jesus said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You're a hindrance to me, for you are not on the side of God, but of men." only 2 I wonder questions in this case, but there's an awful lot to talk about and think about, and it will clarify many things for the children.